Roll Tide, everybody. Here we are talking a little bit of Alabama football practice, and practice is underway. So make sure you like, subscribe, and thumbs up. We appreciate it. Brought to you by mybookie.ag. We're going to talk about spring practice. We got some injury updates. We got Kalen DeBoer. We got some video. We got all that. And one day of practice in the books. Man, this is awesome. We got football. All right, let's get it going. All right, there he is, Clint Lamb, Mick Gillispie here. Guys, like, subscribe, thumbs up as we talk Bama. We do it on a daily basis. So we did our noon show today just to kind of say, hey, man, here's what's going on. And now we're going live, Clint. We're live. You know what that means? Cigar and beer.
You got a cigar. Man, did you just beat Tennessee?
Well, it's football. I mean, we got football. It's a little bit of football, but it's enough football that I need to celebrate.
How are you feeling about the first day of spring practice?
I mean, I feel great. Look, crimson, giant helmets, players with new numbers, guys playing different positions, Ryan Grubb in the house. So I'm excited, man. I mean, we're not going to have the A-Day payoff at the end, but I'm still pretty fired up, man. What'd you think?
The list of injuries was kind of concerning. Guys who were out for the spring, the freshman punter, he's out, which is like, okay, you're trying to replace James Burnip. And the true freshman who probably needs to be getting all the reps he can get right now is currently out for the spring. Danny Lewis is out for the spring. And so you're talking about that inline option. It's like you lose CJ Dupree, you lose Robbie Utes, another blocking tight end. Ty Lockwood's gone. Caleb Edwards isn't on campus yet. So really it's with Danny Lewis being out for the spring, you've got Josh Cuevas, you've got Jay Lindsey, and you've got the true freshman Marshall Pritchett. So pretty light at tight end. Now they brought in some other guys, some walk-ons, and I think that a guy that was formerly playing offensive line for Mississippi State and for South Alabama, he was surprisingly listed as a tight end on the roster. So that was interesting, but he's a walk-on. So it's like they're limited on numbers right now. That's great for Marshall Pritchett, get a lot of reps, might be a little bit overwhelmed early, but it's like he's out for the spring. You got Keon Sabb and Damani Jackson, who are both out in the secondary. Keon Sabb's not surprising. Damani Jackson is. That's good for Cam Calhoun in some of those, Dijon Lee, getting them some reps at corner. But then you also got a trio of guys who are limited in Justin Jefferson, Caden Proctor, and James Smith. They are limited to individual drills. So that's unfortunate. Everybody knows I'm super excited about James Smith and Justin Jefferson. Now you've got Deontae Lawson out for the spring. You've got Justin Jefferson limited.
You knew Deontae Lawson was going to be out. I mean, they're not going to let him get hurt again. Do you have him listed as a starter?
Who?
Deontae Lawson?
Man, and we're going to talk about that because I did find it interesting. I have been kind of the belief that he wasn't going to be ready. I mean, he said that he was going to be back for fall camp, but I'm like, okay, you're going to be like 9 months removed from a torn ACL,
right? And
from everything that we know, a pretty not great ACL injury. So how healthy is he going to be? How close to 100%? Like, is he going to be knocking some rust off? So that kind of led me to believe, okay, Justin Jefferson, they brought him back. He could have entered the transfer portal and went elsewhere. I know he had a pretty significant role as the linebacker 3 in Alabama's defense this past season, but would he be willing to do that again? But with Deontae Lawson being out, you can bring in Nakai Hill-Green, and the assumption is, okay, you kind of got that Phil General and Hill-Green manning one of the spots. You've got Justin Jefferson manning the other. And then Deontae Lawson could end up being a guy who's, he comes in and whenever he gets healthy, there's no rush. But I'll go ahead and read the comment that Kalen DeBoer made because I thought it was very interesting. Mm-hmm. So he was asked about the green dot guys, which are kind of your field generals, your communicators. They're the ones with the headsets on Saturdays. And, the fact that Deontae Lawson's out, this is what he said. He said, we'll go with the veteran guys for that. Deontae this fall will be the primary guy. Justin will probably be the number 2, Justin Jefferson. Both of those guys are out, so there's a lot of stuff being thrown around at some of the new faces on the defense when it comes to communication. So, I mean, obviously for Hill Green, he's one of those new faces. He got a bunch of, young freshmen. Caden Jones is only going to be a sophomore, second-year player. So there's a lot being thrown at a lot of different guys. But that comment, the fact that he said with such confidence, Deontae this fall will be the primary guy. That kind of told me, okay, maybe I'm wrong on this. Maybe he will be back sooner than I think. I think that only adds to the depth and potential of this off-ball linebacker room.
Yeah, interesting. These are good reps, though, for guys that maybe didn't get a ton of experience or moving into new positions or are going to be relied on more. Guys, as you hang out with us, please like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already there, and give us a thumbs up. That's like saying Roll Tide. And we appreciate all the comments. We're going to get into your comments as well, but you can always hang out with us on the Cover Crimson message board. We're there all the time. I put some stuff on there, like important stuff, like your favorite Dead song, the best place to drink beers in Knoxville. We'll do the same thing when Alabama basketball plays Auburn. No, we won't, because there's nowhere good there. But great topics like that, or then all the stuff that we're covering here on a daily basis. Spring camp, what does that mean? Quarterback battle, other position battles, who's healthy, who's not, transfer portal. So we're hitting all that stuff at covercrimson.com, and we want you to be a part of it. And for those of you guys that are, we appreciate you. So, good to see you. Roll Tide Mimi, thanks for keeping us updated. Thanks for being here, Brock. Good to see you too, my man. Roll Tide. And Michael, that's why I got my Stogue out, man. This is as good. This is as close as we're going to get to football right now until football. Right, Clint? I mean, is that a good way of putting it?
That's the way to put it, brother. I actually feel like the off season is going by relatively quickly.
Right.
I feel pretty good about it. Because I mean, we're already a couple of months into this thing, and next thing you know, we've got spring practice going on right now. You get the NFL draft right around the corner. You off pro day next week. You got basketball, March Madness, SEC tournament, all that stuff's about to get underway. I feel like it's rolling. I feel like we're doing some good things. Earlier today, over on the message board, speaking to covercrimson.com, I did list all of the number updates, all of the, heights and weights for the new arrivals, whether it be transfer portal. And I went a step further. I went to see what they were listed at last year. Isaiah Horton, what was he as far as Miami's roster? Cam Dewberry, Texas A&M, where do they have him listed? And I did the weight changes there with those guys as well. Did it with the freshmen, talked about kind of how, on 3 and 24/7, they had them listed as far as their weights and things that we had heard about them. I went into extreme detail, and then I also listed quite a bit of notable weight gains or weight losses and what it could potentially mean. So if you haven't already, get over to covercrimson.com and check that out. I did it on a ton of different players. I mean, I probably spent 3 hours working on it and just explaining to people exactly, what some of these changes could potentially mean.
Michael, appreciate it. He said he saw Scott Cochran last Tuesday, and he told him about Jake and Shank from last week's Elephant in the Room. We did Elephant in the Room on Sunday, and judging from the views, you guys didn't watch it. It was a good one, man. I mean, like one of our favorite shows, or when we just kind of get in there and cut it up live in the studio. But thank you. And yeah, I got to have my biscuit shirt on today. Still my favorite mascot. I got right there. Monty. Do you know Monty? Monty the Biscuit. Look, his tongue is butter. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
Yep. Biscuit colored. That's the yellow, biscuit yellow. I mean, buttered colored yellow. That don't make any sense. So when you look at the injuries, we just kind of went over some of those injuries. Which one which concerns you the most, and which one aren't you worried about? I guess the punter's obviously right up there, because you're like, hey, the guy needs to be ready to go. And special teams are a big question mark right now. You lost a lot of the guys on special teams: snapper, field goal kicker, punter. I mean, those are 3 guys that are important.
Yeah, I think the long snapper's out too, or limited, one of the two. That would be one. Danny Lewis is a big one to me. Josh Cuevas, he's obviously going to be kind of the primary guy at the tight end position. That's what we're expecting. But, he just wasn't a great blocker last year. He's more of a move H option. When Danny Lewis entered the transfer portal, I thought it was a big loss for Alabama. Talked about, how I thought he could continue to grow and develop. They end up getting him back after courting several inline options to replace him. Right. They get exactly what they want, get him out of the portal. And it's like this spring's huge for him. I mean, he needs these reps. He's now going to be that guy, that inline Y option. And then he ends up having to miss the spring. And so now, like I said, I mean, just think about that position group last year and what all you lost. 3 different tight ends, including your top 2 guys in Robbie Utes and CJ Dupree, plus one of the replacement options that you're bringing in, Caleb Edwards, is not on campus yet. So it's just left you extremely thin. And I mean, I don't know exactly how they're going to, Jay Lindsey's going to get all he wants as far as reps, and he's more of an inline guy. So I'll be curious to see, how he develops, because he's a player who I thought had some, very physical player coming out of high school. But, I do worry about that tight end position, because while I liked the combination of skill sets from that group, and you like what it could potentially be,
right?
I mean, half of the 2 guys as far as the HYs out, that are projected to be the starters, and then half of the young guys who are coming in as those Y and H options, they're not there yet. So it's like it's a mixing and matching right now, and you have fewer tight ends in the room as it is, because you lost 3 and you only added 2. So that's probably my biggest concern right now if I'm Alabama.
Message board, man. You guys, look at you guys right here. I remember when Clint and Jimmy Lamb Jimmy Lamb.
I'm sure there's a Jimmy Lamb out there somewhere.
Is there one out there in your family? Jimmy Stein. They used to be a podcast team. We'd love to have me on anytime he wants to come on. We both love Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, anytime I can get him on as a guest. I mean, he's just a phenomenal guy, does phenomenal work. And I think right now he's still doing the Locked On Bama. So it's a good podcast. So, I mean, I'd love to get him on this channel, though, and just kind of pick his brain. Me and him used to go back and forth, and I know we'd have a good time with him, Mick.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Hattie May, I'm stuck to this baseball thing. So you guys find the Tennessee Smokies on the road, Birmingham, Huntsville, Biscuits. I mean, Pensacola, wherever you're at, come and see me. I don't do all the games. I do a lot of them, though. So you probably see me in the visiting booth. We're up in Tennessee, got a new ballpark. But I love my football first, man. So I know you meant Nick, not Nick. All right. So DeBoer looks for this quarterback battle. We keep talking. It's the most important thing that's going on right now, Clint. I mean, let's be honest here. Everyone knows that Austin Mack is going to beat out Ty Simpson for the quarterback job.
Come again? I was going to give you a chance to correct.
I just wanted to see what you said. Hey, the guy transferred with this coaching staff, and Ty needs to go in and win the team over. Jake Coker talked about this on the last couple Elephant in the Room shows. So much of what these guys have to do at quarterback is just winning over the team, having the team believe that they're the guy. Saban used to wait for that. I don't know how it's going to be with DeBoer, but I feel like that's an important part of what's going on right now.
Here's the thing, Mick. I think the locker room likes Ty. I think he has their support. There's no doubt in my mind. I will say that I feel like what you just said might be one of Keelan Russell's biggest advantages, because unless he gets in there and he's like, it goes from being like just super confident to cocky, and he rubs some people the wrong way, which that just no one I've talked to has said that that's his kind of personality. It's this confidence where it's like you come out feeling more confident in yourself just because it's an infectious, it's an infectious attitude that he has. I have little to no doubt that he's going to earn the respect of his teammates, and he's going to earn the respect of the locker room. I already think Ty Simpson has that. I think Austin Mack, through his work ethic, he also has it. So I think they're all three, in pretty good shape on that front. But Keelan Russell coming in at 192 pounds, we talked about this earlier, but just that is so critical. And we're not saying anything that people don't already know, but when you're talking about a 175-pound quarterback coming in, you maybe get him up. You think, okay, if you can add 5-6 pounds on him, 180, 181, 182, that would be better, but it's like he's still, you really worry about that size. And I think right now 192 still isn't big enough. It is light years better than 175. And with him being that size right now on March 3rd, I mean, it's very possible he could be, approaching or even at 200 pounds before the start of the season. And I think that's going to greatly benefit him. There's, he's going to have some of the freshman issues. There's no doubt about it. He's not going to be a perfect player. But, one of the big issues that we had is just, can he hold up? Being 175 pounds, and if he's a starting quarterback, can he take a beating? He's alleviating some of those concerns right now.
Yeah. Well, look at Bryce Young. I mean, I always thought Bryce Young looked thin, but he never really got hurt.
He was very smart.
And I hope that that's what Keelan Russell brings to the table, because I absolutely loved Bryce. I loved him. And if Bama would have just been a little bit smarter in a couple areas, he'd have won a national championship, and caught some breaks. I mean, look, you can't go out there and throw it to a Jai Hall when he's trying to catch the ball like this, and you come up short doing that. But yeah, the quarterback battle, Coker almost made it sound like a lot of it doesn't even have to do with what goes on physically. It's just what the team kind of sees.
The trust, the coaches have to be able to trust you, and you've got to have the support of your teammates. Like, those are two very critical factors. And how you go about doing that, is it going out there and making a ton of plays, and to a point where your coaching staff can say, okay, the guy is going to take some chances he probably shouldn't, and he's probably going to make a mistake or two, but he's going to more than make up for that with his playmaking ability. And I think right now, you talk about like Garrett Nussmeier, that is Garrett Nussmeier. Right. He is that type of player where you still feel confident and you trust his ability to get the job done, but you're going to take kind of the good with the bad. Or you can be the quarterback that goes out there and makes a bunch of really good decisions, and you don't really turn the football over. You take what the defense gives you. You let the playmakers around you do a lot of the work. That's another way to go about it. And I don't really know what this coaching staff values more between those two things. You can also kind of have a combination of both of those, but it's already shaping up to be a really interesting quarterback battle.
Feels like everything that these guys talk about is, Michael Penix, finding the next Michael Penix. And there's never going to be another Michael Penix. There's going to be another whoever it is at quarterback, but that guy knew how to run their offense. And it feels like, as you watch the video, is that Ryan Grubb right there with
that is full beard and everything.
Look at that, man. Welcome to Tuscaloosa, my friend. What this guy, and you focus on his offense, a guy that can run that offense.
And I think all three of these quarterbacks are capable of running the offense. I mean, Austin Mack, he wouldn't have been brought over if he wasn't capable. Ty Simpson, I thought, him playing a little bit more in structure, which I think over the course of his senior year of high school, he really grew in that area, kind of a backyard improvisational style, prior to his senior year, but really grew in that area ever since he's been at Alabama. Granted, he'll still take off and run and do some things with his legs. And, the play where he spun out last year of a sack and, threw a nice completion downfield. Like, those are the things that Ty Simpson from a playmaking standpoint brings to the table. But I think he has also shown a lot of improvement as far as winning from within the pocket, playing within structure. And I think that he's a really good fit from an accuracy standpoint, ball placement, allowing your playmakers around you to be in a position where when they catch the football, they can create yardage after the catch. All that stuff I think he does well. And then Keelan Russell, I mean, some people have described him as the right-handed Michael Penix Jr. So, I mean, I think Alabama's in really good shape on that front. With Milroe, it was just a question of, okay, Milroe's going to have to grow or change, or Kalen DeBoer is going to have to grow and change. But there's no way, with the way that Jalen Milroe played last year and the way that Washington's coaching staff really has coached almost anywhere they've been. There's the exceptions to it, but, it's like there's no way those two things were going to work. Ended up being that Kalen DeBoer had to adjust a little bit. I thought they made, they did some good things. Also was a lot of inconsistency with the quarterback battle. Now, I think you're going to be in a much better position as far as Kalen DeBoer not having to really adjust, Ryan Grubb not really having to adjust, and then the quarterbacks not really having to adjust either. It's just, it fits a lot better.
Yeah, it's fun kind of having, obviously the impact that Grubb brings to the table just with the offense, because it never felt like the offense clicked. Shank was in here and he was like, look, the swarm defense was pretty good. I mean, once Bama got by the Vandy game, the defense just kept getting better and better and better. But the offense was inconsistent. Didn't play well at Oklahoma. Didn't play well at Michigan. And that Grubb's going to open this thing up. Bama's going to move the ball down the field, and you better be ready to score on Alabama, because they're going to be the offense that we expected to see last year.
That's exactly right. And I think across the board, I think a lot of the issues, like earlier, Kalen DeBoer was asked about the receiving room. And one of the first things, really, I mean, it was one of the only things he brought up, was how much length they added to that room. And, we talk about Isaiah Horton. He's kind of the immediate. You talk about the future with Derek Meadows. He's kind of, that guy who's, he's raw, but he's got a lot of physical ability, 6'5", 208 pounds. You like him long-term. But the guy that we don't really mention when it comes to added length, because he's not overly long from a physical standpoint, but he plays long, and that's Jalen Hill. And that's one that Kalen DeBoer brought up. He was a part of the room last year, but he wasn't a part of the room. He was one of the few guys that's like, okay, he brings some of that ball winning ability, can go up and win some 50-50 balls and stuff downfield. I think that was a huge part missing from Alabama's offense this past season, is having a guy who could consistently do that. And I think just getting him back and being another one of those options, Kalen DeBoer said, you start looking around the wide receiver room now, and it's like everybody looks a little different. You got some length there, and it's pretty evident. I think that's going to make a huge difference to the receivers. I think from an offensive line standpoint, you're going to miss Tyler Booker. There's no doubt about that. But I think some of the guys they have ready to kind of step in and replace them, the offensive line is really intriguing. And Kalen DeBoer talked about that a little bit today too.
Guys, as you hang out with us, please give us a thumbs up. That's a way of saying Roll Tide, and we appreciate you so much for being here tonight as we talk. In the comments, we're looking at the comment section. We're going to get your comments on and talk about those as well. But we're brought to you by mybookie.ag. Promo code is next round. Double your initial deposit when you use that promo code. March Madness is here. And Clint's got Auburn running the table. I'm going with the Tide. No, I'm just kidding, Clint. We don't know what's going to happen. Other than Nate Oates is definitely going to be focused in the next 30 seconds of a lead on the road with 30 seconds left, right? And Bama taking on Florida, Auburn tournament. And I know what's going to happen is you guys are kind of finicky about regular season basketball, but you love playoff basketball. Mybookie.ag, use that promo code next round to double your initial deposit at the sports book. And come hang with us. Clint, I'm becoming a regular, not in the regular section where you're at, over on the general discussions.
Oh, we're going to get you over to the regular. You know what, brother? You're new to the message board scene. I totally understand it.
I'm learning.
But you know what you can do? You can if you just put the word OT in all caps, it means off topic. You can put that over on the regular message board. On the other side, you can throw in, hey, we talk movies, we talk TV shows, we talk about regular life stuff. Hey, you got a problem? Let's talk about it. Let's get the brain trust together. So we want you over there, because I got to be honest with you. I should do a much better job of moving on over to the general section and reading some of that stuff, but I've not clicked the general link in a hot minute. I have no idea what's going on over there, but I live on the regular message board, and I hope everybody that's in the chat or watching, I hope they're all a part of covercrimson.com as well.
Yeah, man, come over. And a lot of you guys like get in the comment section on here, and it's like, look, that's like those comments over there, like, are, you keep going back and forth. Talk to me anytime you want, so you don't have to, slide into my, and like some of you guys have done this. I catch you in the DMs. I catch you in the email, on here, man, get in there. We'll talk in there. That's the where we're funneling all you guys. So we can do that. And it's $25 off the annual subscription. And we got some really cool stuff coming up. Some stuff that might ruffle some feathers. Clint,
in a good way.
When Clint unleashes me, it's coming.
Hey, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about now, because we got like 5 different things that we're working right now. So I didn't know which one you were referring to. I know now, and that's going to be really interesting when that gets going.
This active SEC coach.
Yeah. That's a good preview. It's going to be secret time. It's going to be story time. That's going to be what that is. But getting back to what's going on with fall camp, there was a clip that Alabama shared. Obviously, we just showed the practice video that they sent out, but on Twitter, they shared another clip. First of all, saw some interesting things. Lightseer Brooks, incredible catch, adjustment in the air, absolutely magical. Granted, he was being covered by a walk-on. So, I'm not going to, go crazy over that, but it was a miraculous catch. I don't care if he's wide open. Great body adjustment and all that. There was a catch. It was pretty clear that Isaiah Horton caught a touchdown pass. It was with Ivan Taylor, the true freshman safety, and Dijon Lee, both in coverage. So two true freshmen. My guess is it's like, okay, new player, even though Isaiah Horton's a transfer portal guy, he's still got to kind of earn his spot. He's not going to be handed anything. But, that's something that you would fully expect is him winning down the field. And, Dijon Lee's got some length, and Ivan Taylor's got a little range. So him catching a touchdown pass, that was encouraging to see. But, man, they showed a quick clip, and I want everybody to go watch it. So overall, I think it's on Alabama football's official Twitter page. I'll take that tweet, and I'll share it over to covercrimson.com where if you're having trouble finding it. But there's a quick clip, and it's quick. It's nothing spectacular. Just showing some different guys. And it is Justin Hill. And he, first of all, I don't know. We're going to be at practice on Wednesday. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be one of the first things I look for. Wearing the number 8. It seemed like that could have been him just dropping that out into the flat, but it seems like he's dropping into coverage. I'm Nancy Drew when it comes to the practice videos. I slow everything down. I watch it 50 times. I'm trying to get numbers, what's going on in the background, who's out there. It looks like number 26. It was in the background, who was also dropping in coverage too and breaking on the football with him. Don't know that 100%, but if it was 26, it might have been Luke Metz, who is an off-ball linebacker. And I don't know what that means. I don't, because we think Justin Hill's going to be playing some edge, but he played off-ball and he played wolf or, an edge in high school. So it's like, is he maybe getting some snaps as an off-ball? We know he's going to get that as a wolf, and that could have been what it was, just, running the wolf, having him play off-ball. But it really piqued my interest because I don't know what it is. But first of all, he looks fantastic. Listed at 242 pounds. Now you can tell substantial weight, great build, kind of giving me some Kyle Van Noy vibes from the BYU days where they'll play him off the ball a little bit, let him roam, let him do some things, play him as an edge rusher. Telling you, out of all the things in that video that everybody else got excited about, the receivers and all that, I got pumped too. But Justin Hill, that is one of my favorite players in this entire class. They're really missing that versatility from Jihad Campbell that he provided. You might get a little bit of that with old Justin Hill.
Hey, it's good to see Antoine. That's my guy, man. Good to see you, Antoine. Thank you too, man. Roll Tide. And we appreciate the super chat, and I hope you're doing well, man. I haven't seen you in a while. And then here's one right here too, man. 250 yards given up to Oklahoma on the ground. That was one of the worst losses of the year. Remember the quarterback?
The worst loss. That was way worse.
He was stumbling around and nobody could tackle him. It looked like little league football. We haven't lost a game like that. So I guess it's, but they only scored 24 points and 7 of it was a pick 6. So, even with that, and they gave up some points too, but you remember they gave up the interception down there, but still, man, they should have given up 17. But Bama's defense has to be better. Everybody loves the biscuit shirt, man.
It's a sharp shirt. It's a sharp shirt, man. Just
next time.
Yeah, just letting you know if you ever want to get Clint something. I don't know, a biscuit shirt. Wouldn't,
I might hook you up.
I've done. I'm from North Alabama, so the trash pans is. You got the Barons here in Birmingham, but I'm not gonna lie, no one has a better mascot than the old
Monty.
Biscuits.
Monty,
so
right there coming at
feel
us.
free if you want to.
I'll have to take care of you. All right, here's Brock talking about Keelan at 192. You kind of mentioned that already. Him being bigger is going to be important. Is he going to really make a push to be the starting quarterback? Probably not now, but eventually he will. They're grooming him to take over eventually. But I'm going to be serious. I'm not counting Austin Mack out of this.
You shouldn't.
I just am not. I hope that one of these guys just runs with it. But there's a reason why Mack transferred. We lost Julian Sayin when they brought him in. And I would have loved to have had Julian Sayin.
That's going to be a very interesting storyline this season, because I'm going to go ahead and tell you folks, I mean, Ohio State's got some really good wide receivers, including one of the best wide receiver in college football, in Jeremiah Smith. Offensive line's needing to replace quite a bit. Don't know how that's going to look, but I mean, Ohio State normally does a pretty good job of that. Julian Sayan's going to have a hell of a year. I mean, you just need to prepare yourself.
Yep.
And he's got an it factor. And here's the thing, though. If Alabama doesn't go out and get Keelan Russell this year, that has everybody super excited, probably a lot more excited than Julian Sayin had people last year.
Yep.
It could be real rough. And that's regardless of what happens with Ty Simpson. Like I don't think Ty Simpson is going to be spectacular enough where it's like, you're talking about Julian Sayin being a first-year starter, I don't know if he's going to be a redshirt freshman or a sophomore, but a second-year player. He's got multiple years. I don't know if Ty Simpson could do anything this year that would really have everybody saying we're completely fine with how that worked out. With Keelan Russell and Ty Simpson, whether it's Keelan this year, whether it's Ty this year, obviously, if Keelan's not the guy, probably means that Ty Simpson's doing some pretty good things. So you probably would feel good about the immediate and the future. But that is such an interesting dynamic. And what would be amazing is what if Austin Mack becomes that dude?
Yeah.
Now, granted, a lot of people, they automatically don't want Austin Mack because he's a multi-year guy, right? So they feel like that's going to threaten the future of Keelan Russell. I'll go ahead and tell you guys, if Austin Mack does enough to beat out the veteran and Ty Simpson and the true freshman phenom, that probably means he's a damn good quarterback himself. So at that point, who really cares? But it would be very cool if Austin Mack ended up being that dude, and it's like the guy that they have coming in at the same time with Julian Sayin going out, they both became, star players. That would be a fun storyline too.
Yeah, I love it. Peasy, good thought, man. That's what I was saying. It's exactly what I was saying. Mack didn't come in. They knew that they were going to lose a 5-star recruit, one of the top QBs in the country, and the guy could end up being perfect for Ohio State. He wasn't leaving if they hadn't brought in Mack. And when they brought in Mack, everybody was like, what are they doing?
I like Mack. And when you actually went and looked into Mack, though.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot to like about that dude.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. I'm not counting him out. I like this. I like this dynamic, though, because I think you're going to have two capable quarterbacks. Guys, please like and subscribe as you hang out with us live here on the Cover Crimson YouTube channel, and hang out with us. 25% off the annual subscription. That includes the message board at Cover Crimson, covercrimson.com, as we talk Alabama every day. All right, Clint, I'm going to put this guy up here. You ever seen him before? That's LT Overton, and he is, I'd say, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, the best player on the defense.
Yeah.
Arguably.
I don't want to spoil anything because I'm still, I've been delayed. I'm doing 100 things at once. And like today, I was going to do another batch of them. And then, of course, I start breaking down this roster with all the changes and the weight. And then I end up spending 3 hours doing that. And we're sandwiching it with 2 videos, and I don't get a chance to get around to it. But, we haven't really seen anything as far as, the practices and stuff. So there's still time. I'm finishing up my roster rankings. Now, I've already got them laid out. I just need to, I could probably just list them, but I like going.
You're doing roster rankings. So if you agree with me and then you put somebody ahead, and you're not telling the truth. So it's so if Mick did roster rankings,
Mick would have apparently LT Overton as one of his top dudes.
He's, to me, he's the guy I feel the most comfortable with coming back on defense. He got after the quarterback last year. He was a good tackler. And there's some dudes on that defense, but I feel like he's kind of the dude of all the dudes to me.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and spoil it. You're getting a preview of number 2. Number 2 is LT Overton.
Oh, yes.
Highest rated defensive player. You got it out of me. You pulled it. You said just enough to convince me to say it. I love this guy.
You didn't tell me this.
I love it. You know what? It's funny because where
are we at on your list, by the way?
We're sitting at, I think, number 8. I got 3 more sets of 6 players. That's where we're at. I think funny. 1 set of 5 and 2 sets of 6.
Okay.
But he is my number 2 player, and he is. I'm telling you guys, we talk about right now the big conversations. Shamar Stewart for Texas A&M.
Right.
I don't think LT Overton is him from an athletic standpoint, but when you watch the traits and stuff, you kind of wonder. He had 39 pressures. Very, very good season from a pressure standpoint, but he just didn't really convert them into sacks a whole lot.
Right.
Part of that scheme, part of that's just, kind of in some instances with Stewart not finishing, not as big of a problem as it was with LT Overton. But kind of my point with LT is LT played for A&M, but B, he's kind of a guy who the sack production doesn't match just how disruptive he was last year. And Bama fans know this. Other people are going to learn this in real time next year when this cat starts finishing. And everybody's going to be like, man, this guy's having a huge breakout season. And from a sack standpoint, sure, it's not going to be from a, impact or disruption standpoint. Like this cat's already been doing it. Very tough to block. I hate that James Smith is not available this spring because I want to see those two wrecking offense. I guess it would be Alabama's offensive line, so you don't really want to see that. But at the same time, I do. I want to see these two guys working together because I think that they are going to be one of the best duos. Now, Tim Keenan's in that conversation too. Quay Russaw going from 251 to 241. Great weight for him. Think he was a little bit stiff at 251, a little bit heavy. Loved his ability to set the edge at that weight, but I think it'd be a much more fluid player at that Wolf position, playing both off the ball and on the ball at 241. But he's going to be a part of that conversation. But the two biggest ones, in my opinion, LT Overton and James Smith, they have complete game-wrecking ability. They got the complementary pieces, in my opinion, at least from a starting standpoint, with Quay Russaw and Tim Keenan. I think this defensive front is going to be as good as it's been in quite a while. I cannot wait to see it in year 2 under Kane Womack.
There's Kane right there. It's like you just dialed right in. This is the video that Alabama sent us from practice today. What's the schedule look like, Clint, for practice? I know practice is going to be in the morning. You got to stretch out 14 practices to April 12th. And the A-Day, I'm going to be in Tuscaloosa for the A-Day. You're going to be in Tuscaloosa for the A-Day. And if we're not, we don't get to watch.
Well, and it made me a little bit. Now, granted, there were some things that Kalen DeBoer said, but he was asked about the structure and how it would look different. He did say, I would have described last year's A-Day as a modified A-Day game because we really didn't break it up into teams. It was more of a practice. I was like, okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. First of all, Quay Russaw looks incredible there. I'm telling you, the guy's going to be a monster. And there's Jamarian Latham sitting at 265 now. But looking at the A-Day and how it will look, I feel pretty confident that we'll get something where you can, if you go as a fan, you put butts in seats, you're going to be able to see something and get a good feel for where some of these players are at. I hope I'm right about that. But that this entire team right now, there's so much buzz around it. A lot of it has to do with Ryan Grubb. A lot of it has to do with the marriage between quarterback and offensive system. A lot of it has to do with the way that the defense really started to, play really well down the stretch last year. A lot of buzz, a lot of reasons to be excited. And I can't wait until we get to that 8A game. So right now they practice today. They practiced on Wednesday, and we're going to actually be able to go and see that practice. Only getting 2 open practices where we get to see a couple of periods this entire spring. So after Wednesday, not going to hear much from the media on that front until I think it is April 8th, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a couple of days every other day. Next week I think it'll be a Tuesday, Thursday thing. You'll have Alabama's Pro Day. That'll take up some time, but I like the way that they're structuring things right now because they're getting a little bit of time as far as practice before spring break, and then they'll kind of continue after. I think that's the right way to go about it.
All right, man. Well, it's been fun talking to you today. And our new look. I mean, guys, you got to give us a thumbs up for the new look. Clint bringing it to the table. Little rundown menu. And also 25% off the annual subscription at Cover Crimson. CoverCrimson.com. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. But Clint, you and I tomorrow at noon.
You and I tomorrow at noon. You're gonna be talking. It's so much went on today, guys. I mean, we didn't even scratch the surface. So there will be more coming out tomorrow. But there's going to be a lot more to talk about as far as spring training. So looking forward to talking to you tomorrow at noon.
And then Wednesday, man, I might have to go meet you on Wednesday for this.
You know what? Come on, brother.
I'd be.
Can you just jump in the car and just go wherever you want to, whenever you want to?
I can try. Now we do have Mardi Gras. It's Fat Tuesday tomorrow, so
you're not making a Wednesday.
I don't know, man.
Practice is at 8:30, brother. You're not making it.
I want to go, man.
I know you do, but and you know what? That's unfortunate, the timing. But come on. Let's not get crazy.
Come on, man. Give me some faith here.
8:30 in the morning is when you've got to be in Tuscaloosa, brother. And where are you at? How far are you from Tuscaloosa?
I'm in Fairhope. So
yeah, it's about what I thought.
It'd be fun to watch it, though. Hey, guys, like, subscribe, thumbs up. Don't forget, we're going to be talking about practice and everything at covercrimson.com. And then also, we'll be there talking about basketball. And for those of you that are part of our crew, I was not happy about the final 30 seconds of the Tennessee game. I hate losing to Tennessee, but what I don't hate is Nate Oates. I've got a lot of confidence that Nate is going to get things fixed for Florida, for Auburn. I think this team has some more juice left in the tank before it's all said and done. But thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, and roll tide.